Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of That Show That Will Not Be Named. I'm your host Brian, or 2Game Prince, whatever you prefer. And today, after I correct the brightness on this computer, I would like to talk about why I don't like modern action movies. Now, this is an opinion which I have talked with other people about and came to the conclusion that many other people feel this same way as well. That looks good enough. Also, what do you think of my mutton chops? Nice, aren't they? I don't like modern horror movies. Every time I talk about this, I keep saying horror. I don't know why, because I'm so used to saying modern, the phrase modern horror movies, that when I say modern action movies, I sometimes say the other thing. Now, the reason I don't like modern action movies is because I feel there is no effort put into what the good guy does. My issue with them, which I'm sure is an opinion shared by many people, is that, let's take the Equalizer, for example. Me and my family went out to see the Equalizer 2. Now, I only saw the first 15 minutes of the first one. But I basically know what happens. Guy meets Hooker. Not Denzel Washington meets Hooker. Hooker gets beat up. Washington goes around and kills bad guys. End of story. And I assume he moves away. I don't know. But in the second film, it was quite predictable what happened. For those of you who have seen it, the second his old friend shows up and it's like, oh, this is his friend that he used to be in league with. He used to be part of this group of people and they took care of things and they were an unstoppable team, and then one day they just disbanded, yada yada. Classic, uninspired schlock. It's been done 1,000 times before. So then, it was kind of apparent who the fucking bad guys in the movie were. The second they're like, but this is impossible. Nobody else but him knew that this woman was going upstairs to do this thing, or nobody else could have known where these things were, how these things were going on, or where to find these specific people. And the whole time I'm like, it's the guys he was working with before. It's his old partners on the team he used to be on. How could you be that fucking dumb? And sure enough, later on in the film, it ends up being the people that he once fought alongside. Their lives are going sour or whatever, the bills ain't rolling in, so hey, let's do freelance assassinations, yada yada yada, they're a mercenary group, and in the end, Denzel Washington has to single-handedly take all of them down. Now, there was only one redeeming factor of the Equalizer that I actually liked, and that's the fact that he does not use guns. Every guy in the room could have a gun, but he will figure out a way to deal with it. He times everything. Very specifically, he just assumes what they're gonna do. It's kind of like Sherlock Holmes, except just Denzel Washington, and he kills people. But basically, my biggest problem with the Equalizer is he's your average Jack Reacher, John Wick guy, Jack Ryan. That's the new one that's coming out. I'm so tired of these movies and shit where it's like, here's Jack this or John that, and I'm like, I don't give a shit, because they're just giving you characters like, here, this is his name, be familiar with his name, because this is the guy that's gonna literally fuck everyone's shit up in the thing that you're gonna watch. And I'm just sitting there like, I'm completely uninterested. I really don't care. But one of my biggest problems with the movies is you take like a Denzel Washington or a Jason Bourne or something, put them in a hallway with 100 dudes. They'll kill those guys in 5 minutes, every single one of them. They won't walk away. There won't be a fucking scratch on the good guy. Nothing whatsoever. And for me, that takes away the effect of well, fuck, I was expecting a challenge. When I see a hero confronted with something, I want them to not just, bulldozer their way to it. This isn't a fucking Mario game where all you have to do is hop on the Goomba, that's it, problem solved. There's no struggle. There's no effort in the struggle. And I always compare modern action movies back to the first Die Hard. Look what happens in the first Die Hard. How many times does McClane almost die? This dude has to step on fucking glass. And he has glass still in his feet by the end of the movie. He gets the shit beat out of him. This guy goes through hell and back. He has to go through small vents. He has to nearly topple himself off a fucking building. He has to go to insane heights. He has to be smart and like tactical during all of this. And while all this is going on, he still maintains a completely lovable sense of humor and eventual, hatred and vengeance on the bad guy. He's funny as fuck through the entire thing. And every time he takes down a bad guy, you're going, yes, yes, yes. And each one is just one small victory that's going to lead up to the ultimate finale. But there are times where you're like, shit, how is he going to do that? I don't know. And modern action movies just don't have that. On top of the main characters not being really likable. Like John Wick. They killed my dog, so I'm going to kill them. Congrats, you got your motivation. Where's your likability? No likability whatsoever. He's just a gruff. Oh, he loved his dog. That's all the connection you need. Fuck you. The dude doesn't like. And then it's like, oh, he's the legend of Baba Yaga or whatever the fuck. It's like, what? Didn't you do that shit like a few years ago with Dwayne The Rock Johnson in some other movie where he like went to prison, he was scrawny, when he got out he was Dwayne The Rock fucking Johnson, and everyone's like, he's the ghost. Stay away from the ghost. And I'm like, shoot him in the chest. Like, you people act like if you shoot him, like bullets will just phase around him. Like, it's stupid. With, like, at least the old action movies, there was fucking... These guys got the living shit beat out of them. They were on the verge of death. And they managed to pick themselves up and finally defeat the bad guy. And that's what made them interesting. In the modern action movies, I go in going, okay, you see that main character? Fucking nothing's gonna happen to him. They might kill his wife. They may kill his dog. They may, lower his credit score, fuck with his bank account. I don't know. Whatever they end up doing. But no one's going to physically touch him. Nobody is going to hurt him or spill blood whatsoever. And single-handedly, this man is going to maul every bad guy in this movie. And no one's gonna... They're gonna build up a bad guy. They're gonna be like, look at this bad guy. He's so brutal. Look, he whistles while he kills people. Or he offers someone water before he kills them. Oh my god, he must be super fucked in the head. And sorry, but that's not doing it for me. I need a little more, at least with the bad guys. Like, especially, once again, returning to Die Hard, Hans was likable. He was an evil fucking bastard, but he was likable. And there was a reason behind what he was doing. Fuck me if I can't remember what that reason is, but there was a reason. I like bad guys with that, and like I said, bad guys with reasons. That's one of the other good reasons behind, that's one of the other things I think was kind of good about Equalizer. Because the bad guys in the second one, at least, in the first one, they were assholes and were untouchable. Like, where assholes and were untouchable are good for a movie like Boondock Saints, where it's just a blood spree. It's just meant to release, like, don't you just want to go out and kill all the bad people? Oh, that'd be nice. It's good for a movie like Boondocks, where it's a power fantasy. I'm like half quotationing on that. But for a movie like, for a regular action movie where it's just like, we're bad for the sake of being bad, or we're bad for power. I'm so sick of, like, we're evil for power. I did like how in John Wick, the bad guys are, well, he's coming. My grandson, my nephew, or whatever the fuck, my son fucked up. Shit. You know what would have been interesting, I think, in John Wick, if everyone just would have laid the fuck down and just be like, sorry, just come get us, because like, we're 90% sure we're not going to get out of this alive. I would have thought that would have been interesting. That would have been funny. If they would have just did a complete 180. If the bad guy's just like, okay. Because that's pretty much all they have to do at this point in these action movies. In modern day action movies, the bad guy may as well just sit in a room with his thumb up his ass until the good guy comes in to blow his brains out. That's what I see. That's about as much effort I see getting put into these fucking films. All the shit that you put the good guy through. We're gonna kill his daughter. Oh, we don't kill his daughter, but we kill his wife. But what are you doing to him? James Bond got bound to a chair and got his nuts turned into mashed potatoes. What have you done to Denzel Washington in The Equalizer? And the reason I keep saying Denzel Washington in The Equalizer is because after the 2 movies, I really don't care to remember his name. I can't remember his fucking name. Maybe because they changed it in the second one, but I can't really tell. But that's what I'm saying. These characters aren't memorable. Like, you'll say, oh, that was the Equalizer, but you won't remember it for the character. You'll remember it for the aspects of the film, what the people said in it, the car that they drove, the gun that they used or did not use. Shit like that. But you won't remember it for the character. And the only people that will love the action movies are the people that revel just in, evil must be punished, and have that, that gung-ho, rebellious attitude about them. But on the whole, I think that above all of the kinds of movies, even on top of romances, if you can believe that, I believe that action films have gotten the laziest in the current years. And it just bugs the shit out of me because I'm expecting, like, perfect example. Did you ever see Hardcore Henry? I sat down and I watched that the other day. Now, normally what I do is I'll watch a movie once and be like, wow, that was great. I'll go back to it a few years later and I'll be like, that was shit. I really don't like that. Why did I ever like that? Why did I think that was interesting? And I went back and I watched Hardcore Henry the other day and I went, fuck, this movie is better than before. I really enjoy this. And partly it was because of the way that it was made. First-person movies, I think, in my personal opinion, should have become a freaking genre after Hardcore Henry. That's just because I still maintain a massive boner for that movie. But also, it had such a freaking... And for those of you who haven't watched Hardcore Henry, leave this video right now because I'm going to spoil the shit out of it. Or unless you don't care, in which point, stay around. But if you've been watching my channel long enough, you should all know this by now. I'm surprised I still warn people at this point instead of just spoiler. In Hardcore Henry, the thing that was totally shocking was, okay, his wife got kidnapped by this evil psychic Kurt Cobain Russian bad guy. So you must fight him, go track him down. And then when he finally gets to the end, it's like, okay, I'm ready to rescue my wife. Oh, turns out my wife isn't my wife, and my wife is actually the wife of the bad guy that I'm trying to kill. And this whole thing's been a ploy for me to give them information because I'm part of a prototype of a machine that's going to cause a uprising of soldiers the next day to take over the world. And I'm like, oh my god, who is the genius that created this? For once, the damsel in distress isn't the damsel in distress. It's a bitch pretending to be in distress. And then at the end, when confronted with her, it's all like, come on, listen to your heart. There's a chance that I could have been faking it. And the main character's just like, nah, I ain't dumb. Bye, bitch. And she falls 1,000 miles to her death. Amazing. Who thought of this? And jumping back to Hardcore Henry, I might have made a video about it in the past. I really can't remember. But one of the things I love about the ending was, one of the things I didn't like about Hardcore Henry, my bad, was they introduced so many awesome characters. They had such great characters. And in one movie, they just all fucking die. They just all flush them right down the toilet. Like a couple of rank turds. They just don't... That bugged me a little bit. I'm like, oh, you could have made it a franchise, baby. You could have they could have taken this to the fucking moon and back. And Hardcore Henry is something, I feel the same way about a lot of things, like Road to El Dorado. I feel like they're taking the franchises that don't deserve to be franchises and weaning them out. Just keep fucking stretching them out. And all these franchises that should be going on are going nowhere. Another example of that, Road to El Dorado, that could have been something. Although there is a part of me that believes that the only reason I love it even so is because it never got turned into a shitty sequel or a TV show like they wanted to do, which I suppose is a good thing. But the same thing for Hardcore Henry. I feel like it could have became a series. There could have been more. Or, oh god, we can't forget about, what is that movie called? Oh, it's like so 80s. David Hasselhoff made a video for it. It's about a ninja. Kung Fury. When I think I heard things about the next Kung Fury coming out. I'm not sure if they came out. Or something about Hacker Man. I don't know. I gotta check in back on that. Might make a video about that next. But that Kung Fury... Hollywood, why are you not funding the shit out of Kung Fury? Why is there not, like... How has it not been picked up by anything? I don't understand. I don't understand at all why you aren't spilling millions of dollars into this. I mean, you're doing the same for Marvel, which Marvel, in my opinion, is as close as we're getting to, you know, like, really, really off the mark type shit. Like Thor Ragnarok. Love Thor. Because it's like the main reason I like it, it's turning into such a Flash Gordon. That's how I describe it. Flash Gordon. It's very fantasy meets technology, and I freaking like that. But it's comedic, it's colorful, and it's badass. The visuals, I love the not even the rawness of it, just the played up essence of it. It's amazing. But getting right back to the action movies, like I'm saying, they are turning lazier, and they're taking the lazier series and they're taking the lazier products, the lazier movies or whatever, and turning them into series. It's fucking annoying because I'm not interested in them. I don't care about them. It's schlock, and you're getting movie after movie of schlock. How many fucking times can your daughter or your wife be taken before they make a TV show out of it and everyone realizes, you know what, they should have stopped at the first one? I'm looking at you, Liam Neeson. Why did you agree to this? Why did you keep agreeing to it? Movies, Hollywood's going down the tubes, and I really hope they change soon, because eventually I've watched the least amount of movies this year that have come out than any year in my life. I used to be such a big movie buff. Now, like, they show something on television, they show a thing, and I'm just like, this is lazy. This is absolutely horrible. And my desire to turn off the everyday pains of modern life constantly suffer from that. Get your shit together, Hollywood. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time.